God bless you guys. Today is Sunday, November 5th, 2017. I want to share a vision that I had from September the 20th of 2017. This had to do with U.S. trade. So I just wrote down, it said, block nations that would not allow the U.S. to trade or buy the stock. If a stock was doing well and an American wanted to buy it, it would be blocked to protect the other nation from competition with the U.S. Through this unfair advantage, the other nation or nations were getting rich. The vision looked like this. An American woman saw one of many blips on the space, like a video game. She tried to click on it or grab it to buy, but a block came up around it and many other stocks that were doing well, leaving the other nation or nations to feast without competition. It seemed they were Asian nations that were being protected without balance. When I first had this and I woke up and thought about it, I was thinking, is this the TPP? The TPP, which is the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement that I think it was first introduced and talked about by Bill Clinton. There was a ton of resistance to it because of NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, and how it had been billed as something that would stimulate the American economy, create jobs through having America doing business with other countries, but all it did was pave the way for American manufacturing jobs to be carried overseas, and for us to be a country that doesn't produce anything, that doesn't have industries to provide jobs for kids that are coming out of college, and then and for people who don't go to college, because we're not just a service economy. We actually use real goods and services. And since we actually use real goods, and since we're not producing those goods, that means we're buying those goods. And when you're buying instead of producing, you're building debt. So you can imagine if I'm a baker and I'm selling bread and everybody needs bread, I'm going to be well off and I'm making money. But if I need bread and I can't make any bread and I always have to buy bread, I'm at the mercy of the markets that make the bread. So I'm going to be in debt. So that's what is going on with the American economy. We're importing everything instead of what we used to do, which was we were the largest importer of everything. We were the largest exporter, that is. We were selling, and now we're buying. So, sorry, that's what NAFTA did for America. All it did was make it where we didn't have any jobs in our country. And when you lose the manufacturing jobs, you also lose all those white-collar jobs, because for every company that's producing, we could just pick anything, baseball caps, anything, you need accountants. Those companies are going to need lawyers. They're going to need secretaries, all kinds of other jobs that go along with running a business. So you have the blue collar manufacturing workers who have good steady jobs. Those are gone, and then along with those leaving, you also have all the support services around it. The janitors, the construction workers that built the factories, on and on and on and on. When you take those things away, we are literally collapsing the U.S. economy, and it was just a sellout. Any economist that with two brain cells knows that if you don't make anything, you are going to be broke as a country. You're going to be broke. So I thought about the TPP when I had this vision. But I didn't really know too much about the TPP. I heard of it from a friend of mine some years ago, and he had a friend that worked in, where is this guy at? Some Asian country. I don't know if it's Hong Kong or I don't know where this guy works. And some Asian country. And he's been over there for over 20 years. He went there out of college and was working in banking, international banking. So he was telling a mutual friend about the TPP. He was just saying that this was a very sinister thing. He was like, look into it. It'll make you shudder, blah, 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 blah. I never did look into it, but recently, and I looked into it, especially after I had this vision, and Obama was really, really pushing it very hard, and he was trying to fast track it through Congress to make it into law, to enter the U.S. into this agreement, into this trade agreement. So with the same old lines, it's going to create jobs by connecting us with the rest of the world, but it was very controversial, and everybody was saying, look, this is going to be a raw deal, and it's going to compromise U.S. sovereignty by creating a outside court that will be a final arbitrator of disagreements between corporations, multinational corporations, and the U.S. government, or any government that's dealing with them, where these corporations will be able to sue the government and win judgments against the taxpayers, which should never be, because any sovereign government should have the right to say, we don't want your business in our country. You're a foreign entity. You are a threat to our sovereignty or our security. So basically, you're just going to allow traders into your country and give them the right to sue you if you don't want them there. And then this goes back to also right around that time, I also had a night where I had a lot of dreams, and there were laws based on lawlessness. And then this TPP would have been a great example of laws based on lawlessness. It is lawless to have an entity outside of a so-called sovereign government to be able to make binding agreements that this sovereign government has to follow with any other entity. That is, it defeats the purpose. It in effect nullifies the fact that you are a sovereign government. If someone can come in and hold you to some binding agreement, you are not sovereign. You are not even a government. That means that whatever court system that would regulate these agreements, this TPP agreement, that would in fact be the world government. They would in fact have sovereignty over the nations of the world. So, yeah, you can't have, once you have laws based on something that is unlawful, then you have chaos and grievousness, and we're sunk, which we already are sunk. So, like I said, the focus of this, it seemed, was on Asian nations, and the net effect of it was just destroying the United States. It was setting up lopsided agreements and trade policies for the United States. And the other nations were becoming rich at the expense of these unfair dealings with the United States. So, with a little bit more research that I did, I saw that although Obama did make this push to try and get this Trans-Pacific Partnership trade agreement rammed through Congress, I guess from what I can see, it failed, and they had to table it. But from this vision, I would say that it would be reborn or renamed, just revived in another form, because they don't give up when their plans don't go through. They just learn from what just failed and they try it again. If the people didn't accept it with a blue bow on it, let's take it and wrap a pink bow on it and bring it back around. And lo and behold, this time it'll pass, because we just have such short memories. Well, that's all I know about that. So God bless you guys.